Draft number 1 is available now of a blueprint for the future of financial management in the federal government. The team that developed it calls it the CFO of the Future Now. Mike Wetklow is Deputy Chief Financial Officer at the National Science Foundation. Steve Kunze is Deputy CFO at the Department of Commerce. They are both on the CFO Council team that developed the plan. Gentlemen, welcome. Thanks very much for coming on the program. Mike, I start with you. What were you going for here? What was the problem that you wanted to solve that caused you and your colleagues to get together and start this work?
Well, let's see. Most importantly, this past November was the 30th anniversary of the CFO Act. So in the CFO community over the past 30 years, we've done a lot of work to learn how to do financial statements, learn how to work through audits, learn how to do improper payments. But now with some pretty good accomplishments we made in the community, now we're trying to set ourselves up for 30 years into the future. So we're really looking into a lot of areas like data and technology and things that are really important to the community.
Steve, was this a tiger team or was this the entire Chief Financial Officer community and government coming together? How did this work?
The Chief Financial Officer Council put together a working group led by Mike, myself, and a few others that also included cutting across all of the CFO Act agencies in the federal government. And we basically worked over the past 18 months to identify the areas that we needed to focus on. And as Mike pointed out, we found that drivers of data and technology were the two biggest key indicators, and it was a joint effort of the members of the CFO Council at the federal level.
Steve, does that mean that CFOs of the future need to be proficient in using data, or do they need to be proficient at working relationships with data practitioners and data experts across agencies, some combination of both, or something else?
You actually said it. It is a combination of both. We are looking at being able to emphasize the need for data in order to make very data-driven decision-making to inform policy on the mission side, as well as being able to work with both the tool sets that are available by our data practitioners. And we're working very closely with the Chief Information Officer Council, as well as the Chief Data Officer Council, one of the newest executive councils that have been added most recently based on the Data Act.
Mike, what is your sense? What did you learn from this effort about what those relationships look like across government? Are they strong, weak? Are they so nascent that we don't know yet? What's kind of the state of the art in the interaction among the CIOs, CDOs, and CFOs?
We're all at different spots. I mean, I mentioned the CFO Council. We've been around for 30 years. So, our challenge is how to bring new life and to, continue our success. And then, over recent years, there's been a lot of work to bolster the CIO Council, and they've done a lot of good work. One of the things they have is a data science curriculum that we're leveraging that is really adaptable to what we do. And then we're starting to work with the Chief Data Officers Council, and they're, just like we were 30 years ago, working to, stand up what it means to have a CDO council, how they can contribute. And we just find them to be a very vital partner to us. So I guess simply put, it's a team sport, and we're really, partnerships is a key component of our plan.
What will the workforce look like, or what will the future workforce have to do in order, Mike, to be as proficient with data as you and Steve are projecting that they will need to be?
I think as one of the biggest things we found that people were interested in was data and technology. So, being comfortable with data, I kind of look at it in terms of being ready for speed and scale in financial management. So we really want to unlock the value of the community and our skills. We need to know how to partner with each other. But to your point about data, is we need to be ready to translate this technology and data into innovation into our financial management processes. So that means a lot of things: getting comfortable with computer science, getting comfortable with statistics, coding, all these things to be able to interact with the technology. And if you do a little bit of that, a lot of things that seemed to be impossible in times past is now possible with the data and technology we have at our fingertips.
Steve, I mentioned at the beginning of the conversation, this is draft one. How will you take feedback on this? How will you evaluate that feedback? And what's the timeline to continue until you get a product that says what you really want to set out as the strategy for the next 30 years?
That's an excellent question, and I'll answer that, and then I'm not sure if we will ever have a plan that will be completely done. We're taking an agile approach to this. We recognize that technology and data requirements are going to change as we move forward, and so we're going to do this on an iterative basis. We are committed to doing this on an annual review to make sure that the direction that we chose has not gone off the rails, and that it has not new developments in either technology or in data requirements hasn't gone a little bit different than what we had projected to. So our objective here is to do this iteratively over the coming year, bringing in the CFOs that as they become confirmed so that they can get on board. That is one of the reasons why we're calling this version 1.0, because we had this change in the transition to the new administration. We want to make sure that they have their policy set into the actual wording of what this workforce plan would be.
Mike, we have 20 seconds left. How will you measure success of this effort over time?
Just being able to experiment and deliver value. I mean, the question you just asked about is really important in terms of unlocking our value as a community to move beyond compliance, I think is the simply put, and being able to contribute to the awesome missions of our federal agencies.
Mike Wetklow, Steve Kunze, thanks very much for joining me today. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for having us.